Look at these, we found some mushrooms about the same size as Sophie's head. Hold up there the comparison.
They're highly poisonous.
What do you reckon? A leg?
Yeah. I must admit, I haven't eaten an orange mushroom before. How much butter do you think?
Lots of butter.
Yeah?
More butter the better. God, that smells so good.
Hi, we're Duncan and Soph. This year, we decided to quit our city jobs to adventure and to experience more of the things that we enjoy most. First stop, New South Wales, then on to the tropical north, following the sun all the way around Australia. For how long? Who knows? Are we crazy? Probably. But if not now, then probably never. Subscribe, and we'll see you on the road.
Today we've woken up to another crisp autumn morning in Bowral, where we've been for the last couple of weeks as we await the easing of travel restrictions in New South Wales and Australia as a whole. We've noticed the mornings are getting colder in the van as winter settles in and we can feel ourselves longing for warmer climates with each passing day. To be fair, there are worse places during autumn in the Highlands, as they are known for their European climates and autumn colour, with beautiful orange and red trees losing their leaves all around us. Determined to not let the restrictions and self-isolation get us down, we've been getting out and doing as much in the Southern Highlands as we can. And yes, we have been observing the social distancing rules. Seen an omelette cooked in a wok before.
No, I'm not sure you meant to.
Ready to go?
Yeah, all set.
Finished breakfast, finished coffee, finally heading out the door, packed everything that we need for this epic day of mushroom foraging and cooking. There we go. Okay, next stop, Penrose pine forests, and a bit of exploring. Can't wait.
The drive to the forest is quiet, almost peaceful in comparison to driving in Sydney. We pass through lots of green space, rolling hills, and even spot cattle grazing as we head further out of town. We'd had a pretty restless night from the noisy birds last night, so we decided to grab another coffee on the way.
There's this really cute place in Exeter that our friends Connie and Dan also showed us, which does pretty good coffee. Not as good as coffee I would do myself, obviously, but
So modest.
they do awesome sandwiches as well. But I think if we buy a sandwich, we're sort of admitting defeat that we're not going to find any mushrooms. So just the coffee.
We arrived at the Exeter General Store, which is quite typical of quaint village cafes in this area. It acts as the local post office, as well as selling yummy baked goods and homemade chutneys, cheeses and dry goods from local farmers and growers. It was actually really hard not to walk away with a few things, but the recipe we'd found for our mushroom pasta looked delicious, and we didn't want to second guess our foraging skills before we'd even begun.
Stuff.
Yeah, are we gonna have this? Hopefully we'll fill it full of mushrooms, but let's see.
found this little trail walking down to the base of a little gully, and the reason we're doing that is it's a lot damper down here, a lot moister, so you get to see a lot more of the mushroom colonies than up on the ridge where we were before. And we're looking for these little pine mushrooms, or called, what are they? White tops?
Yeah, saffron milk caps.
Saffron milk caps, but that sounds a little bit more poisonous, so I like to call them pine mushrooms. And you can see we're walking along this little trail now, and somewhere along it we're looking for these little orange pine mushrooms. Well, I say little, Sophie says actually pretty big. And when we
find how young or old they are, right?
Yeah, that's true. And when we find some, hopefully we can show you.
One of the non-edible mushrooms. So these ones are the ones that we're told not to eat. They're just as they're just as popular. Like, you'll see just as many of them. And I think I was looking it up the other day. 20% of all mushrooms are poisonous. So this is definitely one we want to avoid. I actually saw one over there as well. So we'll keep an eye out for these on the way around. What is it?
Finding a whole lot of these are the mushrooms we're looking for, but they're just like super old, dried out, and like well past it. But seeing there's a big old clump of them here, hopefully if we go a little bit further, we will find some younger ones that haven't dried out. But it's a good sign. It means they were here, and maybe there's some that are a little bit newer and just sort of emerged. We're in this little valley and it's just perfectly calm. All you can hear is just the sound of the birds chirping, and that's about it. It's like its own little microclimate down here. It's like a lot damper than the rest of the pine forest, which is usually quite dry. So I've got a good feeling I'm going to find mushrooms here. As I say that, I've just spotted an absolute massive one. So I'll bring you over here. Oh, I think I found two actually. You get under it and chop it off at the base. Oh yeah, look at that. That is exactly what we're looking for. That is beautiful and orange. You can see the orange sap coming out. That's how the saffron get their name, because of this orange sort of sap. I know that's not the technical term. And then you got these nice orange gills here, which always makes me wonder why they're called gills, but hey. And that top is nice and round and perfect.
Okay.
That is going to be really nice to eat.
What is it?
So we found a few of these along the way already. We keep finding these bones of animals that hopefully haven't eaten the mushrooms and died, but have sort of been eaten out here. This looks to be, I don't know, what do you reckon, a leg?
Yeah.
Thigh bone?
It might be maybe a kangaroo or a wombat.
I don't know, and then a bit of spine.
Oh.
Anyway, probably shouldn't be touching these without.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so this is what we're looking for. We found two. They usually grow in little clumps like this, but we found two good little examples of pine mushrooms, hopefully. So we're looking for this sort of colouring, bright orange, and when we chop them, they should have a hollow stem. You can see here with the pine mushrooms, you've got the hollow centre, nice and orange here on the gills, and not bad sizing. This one looks like it's got a bit of discoloration and sort of started turning green, which is pretty common with these things if they've been sort of damaged or aged. But this one's looking pretty good here, so that might be a good one to eat.
Oh,
there you go.
Yum. They're a great size. Really nice.
How are you feeling about eating them?
I must admit, I haven't eaten an orange mushroom before. A little bit disconcerting, but I think if we do a bit of a Google beforehand, I'll feel much more at ease. This looks like a good one. It hasn't got any bruises that I can see. And let's just check. And it's hollow. Yeah. And I'm being mindful not to bruise it, but it's perfect. What do you reckon?
Put it in the pot. So this one feels like it's got probably not going to be that good at eating. It feels like it's dried out a lot on top. Yeah. And it's quite tough on the top of there. So I don't think Don't think that one makes the cut, although this looks nice, but I think that one's probably just past it.
What do you reckon to that one?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, we are noticing that a lot of them are drier than they're meant to be on top, but that's probably because there hasn't been too much rain. But looking at the bottom of that, it looks pretty perfect. I think that'll still be pretty nice to eat. So we've just spotted some really big ones over here. Although we've been told the smaller ones are way better for eating, these are huge. So I don't know, maybe we give them a try. They look pretty perfect as well. I'll turn around and show you. As you can see, these in here look pretty perfect colouring and just absolutely huge. Nice and round. Found some mushrooms about the same size as Sophie's head.
So all the same varietal of mushroom, but obviously one is much younger. This is how big they can grow. So apparently these are going to be a little bit sweeter.
Now we've got enough mushrooms. I'm going to climb back up the hill, out of the valley, which is more tiring than I thought it would be. Get back to the car, and then we can get all our supplies out of the car and cook up this epic lunch that's well deserved now. Almost at the top of the hill, and hopefully back where the car is. I can't stop myself. I keep looking down looking for mushrooms, but I think we've got enough, so I should stop.
It's the number one rule of foraging, isn't it? You should only take from the land what you need.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be greedy and take too much. But I am thinking that this cool little rocky escarpment beside us would be a cool spot for us to climb up to and cook up our pasta de la feast on.
Yeah.
Okay, so the mushrooms look pretty good. I'll give them a quick wash, get off anything that's been on top of them, especially because you have no idea what sort of animals may have come past and done God knows what on top of a mushroom, so probably not a nice thing to think about when we're cooking them, but just give me a quick rinse here, especially on the top where they seem to be the most dirty. We are going to cook these, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but just get all the muck and grime off. You'll notice the water started turning a bit yellow. That's because they're saffron mushrooms and they've got a sort of orangey yellow sap to them, so that's nothing to be alarmed about. That's looking pretty good. How good is that view? It's pretty insane, right? Anyway, better get into this. We don't want to get dark. We're going to chop them into nice big chunks because they don't really reduce at all in the pan like some of the other mushrooms, so they'll just be nice sort of chunky pieces of mushroom once we've cooked it up to mix with the pasta. So I'm going to get into chopping these and then we'll get them into that frying pan. This is that big one we found first, looks epic. And you can see this is a great example of how it's got that saffron name, because you got all that saffron sap, and that's what gives it all that, the water made the water yellow, but also gives it that great sort of nutty taste.
Dunk's just chopped all the mushrooms, and yeah, I think we were right. I think we've got plenty. So we'll just put the butter in the pan, get it sizzling. Pretty good. How much butter do you think? A bit more?
Lots of butter.
Yeah?
More butter the better.
Yeah, these are cooking really quick. It's great.
Being out here, you almost forget that, you know, all the craziness, and that's a big part of what we want to do this year in our trip is get away and see Australia and sort of get back to nature and, you know, be a little bit more mindful of what we're doing and how we're doing it and think less about emails and work.
I picked up this one. What do you think? I actually just got excited by the label, Brave New World. I thought
That's
it was
a pretty
very
cool
fitting.
logo. I like that.
That is well earned. You definitely
Thank you
picked
very
more
much.
mushrooms than I did.
Well done, fellow forager.
I wonder what else we could do in this forest.
I can think of a few things.
Are you being rude?
No.
I was thinking, what other types of mushrooms can we pick? Forage.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I was thinking mushrooms as well.
Bushwalks,
Oh, bushwalks,
Four-wheel drives, sunsets, mushrooms.
wholesome activities.
Wholesome, yes.
Wholesome activity. Anyway, I think this conversation's going one way.
Yeah.
Righto.
And
So
that's
what?
without the wine.
So what's next? We've got the mushrooms on. What's next? We've got our wine.
Yep. We'll just have mushrooms and wine. No, I think we're going to cook up the pasta, thread through some creme fraiche, put in some spinach. I've got some thyme as well. And actually, we were looking at a recipe that said parmesan, but I bought smoked cheese instead.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Smoked Australian cheese.
Yeah.
Love smoked Australian cheese. Righto. Do we bring hummus?
No, we didn't bring hummus. You need one.
No
meal
hummus.
without the
No hummus. Hummus breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Oh well. You know, I'm sure it'll still be okay without hummus.
Pine nuts are in and they're browning quite nicely, so I'm going to give them a couple of minutes. And then I'm going to add some vegetable broth and some baby spinach. Wait for that to wilt. And then I've got some lime juice, some black truffle oil, which is our secret ingredient, similar to hummus that we put on most things. Whip through some creme fraiche, and then I'm going to finish with a little bit of smoked paprika just to give it that extra rich smokiness. Some thyme, and then the smoked cheddar that I talked about.
This is looking really good. How quickly are you drinking? I suppose you don't have to drive.
No.
I want to save some of mine for serving up. Oh, thanks, babe. That looks epic. God, that smells so good. Righto, I'm gonna get into this. See what the first bite tastes like. Wow.
Is it just because you're hungry? Does it really taste good?
That really tastes good. Those mushrooms have like they go really well with the pine nuts. They sort of have this like nutty sort of, I won't say pine flavor, but like sort of like nutty foresty flavor. And the pasta, and I'd pay good money for this in any restaurant. For an activity in the Southern Highlands, this is great. Like, doesn't cost a thing.
Yeah,
Get out in nature.
It's completely free.
Because what's more Southern Highlands than being like out in autumn, sitting on top, like sitting in the bush, eating epic food that's been foraged from literally all around us here. All the mushrooms there.
All the mushrooms.
Just a touch.
I was thinking more cheese, more smoked cheese.
Don't give me ideas. I'm still bitter that there's no hummus. How do you reckon hummus would go well with this?
Hummus goes well with everything.
That's what I said. Hummus goes with everything.
I'll give you that.
I bet so many people disagree with that statement.
Yeah, well, we'd love to hear from you. If you think hummus doesn't go with something, we're prepared to try it. We think it'll go on everything. There's nothing we won't try. Or you won't try.
With hummus, or just in general?
With hummus.
I was trying to work out where you're going with that. There's nothing you won't try.
With hummus.
Jeez, don't say that. Okay, the sun's starting to get a little bit lower in the sky. We've probably got a couple of good hours left of light. So we're just about to put everything back in the car and go for a little bit of a cruise around the forest. Ready to go forward driving?
Yeah, all done. Let's go.
Penrose State Forest is one of the most well-known forests in New South Wales and covers an area of around 2,000 hectares. The first radiator pines were actually planted in the area in nearby Bowral State Forest 20 kilometres north of Penrose in 1919. And today, the area has grown to over 3,500 hectares of commercial pine plantations, with timber being processed at a local mill. As the sun started to go down, we emerged into an area of forest that felt like another world after spending so much time in amongst the trees. This area had recently been felled for timber in an ongoing regeneration process of planting, clearing and burning the commercial forest practices. Even cut down and burnt, it's still a beautiful backdrop. It's actually quite nice that there's no trees, so you can actually see this view behind me.
You can actually see a little bit of a fire down there. Is that a little bit of smoke?
Yeah, it looks like it's still smouldering.
Yeah, I can see two spots.
I think we might jump up on the back of the Ranger and watch the sun go down.
Could you hold me tight? Don't turn on the lights. I don't wanna fight with you.
Look at that sunset. And that's the end of it. The sun has gone behind the hill, and with that, that's the end of our day. Time to jump back in the beast and head on home. Peace. Join us next week as we wake up to even colder mornings and head down the Macquarie Pass to hike through dense jungle bush on the hunt for waterfalls, which keep getting better the higher and higher we climb. Once again, it wouldn't be a waterfall video without us finding out that we weren't meant to be there the whole time as we leave. Definitely starting to sense a pattern here.
Hold me tight.